Well, I bought another snake, and I bet you're wondering, how does this guy handle having 100 reptiles? Where does he get the time? Well, lucky for you, if you're watching this video and you're nice enough to do so, I'll be nice enough to tell you all my secrets. These are the 5 main hacks that I use to make sure that I can still have a life and 100 reptiles. My name's Adam. This guy doesn't have a name yet, but we'll talk about it. You're watching Wickens Wicked Reptiles. Stick around. I realize that I have enough animals, but I saw this beautiful, beautiful leucistic, blue-eyed leucistic ball python. I've always wanted a white snake, and this was at a reptile rescue, so someone gave this animal up for some reason. He needs a name, so put it in the comment section below. Let's just start it off with how to do this, because I know it's ridiculous that, you know, oh, this guy's got 150 animals, he must do nothing but sleep in his reptile room and wake up and do stuff and then fall asleep from exhaustion. And no, it's not really like that. I have a decently I do work a lot, but it's a decently normal life, and the reason that I can do that is because I've found these 5 hacks that make things easier, and I want to share them with you. So let's just start off with number 5. You need stuff, so get good stuff. And this video is sponsored by Temu, and I get a ton of stuff from Temu to make my life easier. And just even simple things like when you're misting enclosures manually, which we're going to talk about misting systems in a second, get good misters that actually make mist. Not those crappy dollar store things that it's like water droplets and they spill all on your hands and then you look down and there's a puddle on the floor. Get good stuff, stuff that actually works the way it's supposed to work. How about accurate devices where you're actually going to be able to read the temperature of whatever it is? So where the wall behind me is 77.2 degrees. Apparently, but again, another Temu find. You have to get good items that are going to make your life easier. And it's a site-wide sale of 90% off right now, so it's silly goosery not to be giving them a try. Also, all this stuff I'm showing you, it's free shipping and free returns up to 90 days. So for example, even comfort, by the way, so the shoes I'm wearing are from Temu. If they came in the wrong size, they didn't, they came in the right size, I could just send them back. It really is spectacular. Even things you wouldn't think about. Like for example, my utility sink, I have a mat so that when I am getting wet, because you're gonna spill things on you when you're cleaning stuff, that there's a mat there so the floor doesn't get slippery and wet. My feet don't get wet, I don't slip, and I know it seems ridiculous, oh, who cares? This mat from Temu, which was more affordable than I could ever imagine, and definitely more affordable than a big box store, saves my feet from getting wet, and saves my feet from hurting, and the floor's not getting wet, all in one. How about something as simple as, hey, I need to measure my animals, but they won't sit still. It's very difficult. How about using calipers? You ever think about that? Just use a caliper. Oh, it's about this size. And then as it's moving, drop it. Like, this is how I measure all my geckos now, by the way. This is how I measure basically everything. Again, another Temu find. Like, just buy stuff that's good, that's useful, that saves you time. The name of the game is doing everything efficiently, not cutting corners. When you're chopping up greens, why are you doing it with a knife? Buy yourself some sort of processor, even if it's just a hand processor to make mush out of these greens for small. Like, there's just so many things that you buy one time that save you so much time eventually in the future. And if you download the Temu app through my link and use my code in the description, you can get a $100 coupon bundle. All this stuff is the reason I can get in and out of this reptile room in a timely fashion. And you can get these amazing items too. You have to get the thermometer for sure, by the way, to measure surface temperature. Just go to the link in the description below, download the Temu app, use my code. I promise you will not regret it. Moving on to number 4, it seems so obvious, systems and routine. So, for example, you need routine to make anything successful. And that's just simply because, well, if you're doing things all willy-nilly, you'll forget, you're doing them out of order, you're taking too many steps, etc. I'll do it, you won't, you'll forget, I promise. It happens to me all the time. So if you do, I don't know, you fill water first, but then you have to go back and spray the enclosure, when you're using the same nozzle to do that, it doesn't really make sense. So I recommend that you don't do that, and then you kind of put yourself in an order of operations where, say you're going through enclosures like these ones, PVCs. You go through every single one and you take all the poop out, you close the door behind you, you move on to the next one, and then you do all the water at the same time. Rather than you spot clean, then you do the water, which is in a different room, then you onto, it's just too many steps. It doesn't make sense. Where what you could do instead is take all the water bowls, clean them all out, and then have yourself a giant receptacle you bring into the room. You put the water bowls all back, and then you fill the water from there. Makes things so much easier, saves you a bunch of time. Number 3, we'll speed it up a bit, automation. I talk about this all the time. We are living in the future, and if you're not using the future technology, you're silly. Stop using your fingers to turn on light switches. Can you imagine all these enclosures plus the other room, and I had to go around every single day at approximately the same time, flicking on switches and flicking off switches and manually setting heat and the whole thing. Stop doing it. Use smart timers, smart plugs is what I like to use, so you can literally control them from your phone. Use even misting systems, right? Use a mist system that is on a timer. Make sure that you don't have to go around and manually miss things. Do you know how much freaking time? Watch a Mike Taitula live stream, okay? Mike, love you, buddy, but the amount of time you spend spraying your enclosures is obscene. Buy a misting system. My misting system saves me, I checked. I did the misting manually. Saves me over 1 hour if I'm moving quickly every single day. 1 hour, that's 4% of your day. Heat, humidifiers, misting system, lights, all of that stuff should be on automated timers. If nothing else, go to the dollar store and get one of those little clicky wheel timers that you have to set manually, but at least things are going on and off. Like, doing it all by yourself is silly. Number 2, schedule the labor. Even if you're the only one working, which for most of you that is the case, and for me, for 90% of my, 99% of my reptile keeping journey, I've been by myself. I haven't had help, okay? So if you're scheduling yourself, for example, first of all, make a schedule. You know, so don't worry about sticking to it too much. If your friend invites you to dinner on Wednesday, but Wednesday night at 7 o'clock is when you do your feeding, go to dinner. Just do it later or earlier in the week. I mean, don't make this a job if it's not one, you know? But for me, when I was doing it by myself especially, okay, so these animals eat on Tuesdays. These animals eat every other Wednesday. These, whatever, and schedule it so that, and it depends what's up to you. Do you like an 8-hour day on a Saturday on your day off, and you like to run through everything so that on Sunday you can chill and you're not doing anything? Or are you one of those people that wants to do a little bit every single day? So every day you get home from work, okay, today's Monday, I go through, I feed the leopard geckos, it takes me an hour, whatever. Oh, okay, now it's Tuesday, I do all the misting and I feed the rapashi to the, like, and it only takes me an hour. Are you one of those people? Or are you the type of person who wants to do everything in one day or, you know, a couple days a week, a lot during the day? Either way, schedule it, and that way everything is done, and make yourself a checklist also. Even if it's on a whiteboard, that is what I recommend for basically everybody. That's what I do for myself. And then going on to number 1, hire help. Now, I know this isn't for everybody. Don't turn the video off yet. I have an option for you that you probably have never thought of before. If you want, hire someone part-time. Get someone to help you. Get a volunteer, a student volunteer. So I've got an employee, a paid employee, she gets paid. But she only works, 8 hours a week, something like that. But manual work is what I'm talking about. So for example, feeding the leopard geckos, feeding the snakes, feeding whatever. Actually, Aria does a lot of really complex stuff too. But in general, if you want to, source out, you have a breeding operation for, gargoyle geckos and crested geckos, for example. And you have to scrape poop off of the tubs or the bins or the glass or whatever you're keeping them in, 3-4 times a week. Make sure that you're hiring someone to do that. Your efforts are better put into marketing those animals, making sure those animals are up to weight, doing things like that, where you're actually doing the brains of the operation rather than the daily tasks that anybody could do if they're trained properly. Not to say that this isn't a valuable job, it definitely is, but it's not as something that you need to have the wherewithal of business in order to do, like it is to, for example, do a spreadsheet of your expenses, make sure that your accounting is on point, make sure that, certain animals who need specialized care, you're taking care of, things like that. So even if you can't hire somebody, a lot of people say, oh, well, I can't pay someone 50 grand a year. It's like, I don't either, right? And it's not a full-time employee position that I have. Eventually, I would love to bring Ari on full-time or have a couple employees, whatever, but it's a part-time position that helps me a lot. Do I still do a lot of work down here? Yes. But does she save my bacon and make it so that I actually have a social life in some respect? Yes. And I couldn't do that without her. Now, of course, if you can't do these things or there's something in your way and you still, there's a whole video right here about getting into reptiles. I suggest you watch it. It might be time to lessen your collection. But either way, I want to say thanks to Temu for sponsoring today's episode. Thank you guys so much for hitting the like and subscribe button, and let me know in the comment section below what you think a hack is for keeping lots of reptiles. And as always, a special thanks to the Patreon supporters. You guys get videos early, discounts on merch, all that and more for as little as $1 a month. And that's it. Because if we do videos twice a week, that means I'll see you in the next one.